So this is the first episode of what I'm going to call Fishbusters. Things is algae eaters and how good they are at cleaning your tank. And for some people entering the hobby, they do have the misconception that they can just get a snail or a borneo or a hillstream loach and have that fish do most of the cleaning in their tank, and that tank will remain pretty pristine. Obviously, we're not going to test this, as we know that these fish, and such as cories, that are bottom feeders, are only there to consume leftover food and not necessarily fish waste and clean your tank. However, algae eaters such as the Borneo loach, as we can see from this video, are actually very, very good at cleaning up dirty parts of the tank and algae. So that's what we're going to do here. Let's take a look at our breeding tank. Now here in our breeding tank, what you're going to see is I have an ammonia alert tab here. This is from Seachem, and this is a product that's used to monitor ammonia inside the tank by constantly sort of testing the water, if you will. The color of that circle inside the ammonia alert will change to within respect of the surrounding area of that ammonia alert to let you know how toxic ammonia could be inside that habitat at any given time. This ammonia alert was in our main tank. As you can see behind me, our main display tank is a glowfish tank. Obviously, it's lit up here for daylight. But that ammonia alert was getting some diatom algae buildup on it. And that diatom algae was nice and green, and it looked like a great feeding source for our new juvenile hillstream loaches in our breeding tank, which is a Fluval Flex 15-gallon. So I took the ammonia alert, we put it in our Fluval Flex, and we dropped it down to the bottom, and we let the hillstream loaches go to work. And as you can see, they did an amazing job over a 24-hour period here, the before and the after, of cleaning up the ammonia alert and getting that algae off of it. And that was just mainly the hillstream loaches that were attacking the algae on that and feeding off of the biofilm, which is like more of a flaky, sort of crusty, gooey buildup that you'll see around your fish tank. That's biofilm. And the diatom algae, which is that green sort of snowy dust that's left on that ammonia alert. Now, we decided to take this a step further. We also have a feeding ring here, which is the red plastic ring that we use in our main display tank for centering where that food is dropping in the tank so that it lands on a good area of the substrate. So we dropped this red feeding ring into this tank just the same way that we did the other. We weighed it down here with some rocks, and you can see that. And after the hillstream loaches fed off of the first layer, which was biofilm, on top of that, what we can see is that the gold snails, the gold rabbit snails that we have in the tank, were needed to eventually come around and clean up the very, very stuck on algae that the hillstream loaches couldn't quite get. So where do we come to a conclusion? Well, we can see that with a lot of bottom feeders like corydoras that will consume a lot of leftover food. Obviously, if you have a lot of topwater or midwater fish, you need to make sure that you're feeding your bottom feeder fish and that food is getting down to the bottom. But these fish will consume a lot of the bottom food that will typically go to waste. And between them and something such as a snail, as well as something like a hillstream loach or a Borneo loach in your tank, these fish are prime for cleaning all the little spots of the tank that you can't quite get to. So in our main display tank, we have a flipper, which is a floating magnetic scraping device for cleaning our tank and cleaning the main section of glass. So obviously, with something like a hillstream loach getting into the corners, as well as a snail getting in areas behind decorations and places you can't normally get this thing to sort of squeeze without undecorating your tank and doing a teardown, we can definitely see that having these other fish as part of our stocking and as a plan in our community, we can see that having them around is an extreme benefit to keeping our tanks very nice and clean. Obviously, with a new tank, you need to be careful that you have enough to feed these fish, whether that's, stocking some spirulina powder, making some rapashi jello, or whether you're going to be feeding these fish off of brine shrimp or other fish, other foods in the meantime, like crushed up flakes. You will have to be careful that you don't introduce them into a brand new tank without anything to eat. So it is something to be mindful of as you try to acquire some type of fish like this. So I hope you found our video very helpful, and I hope you found our channel helpful as we build our content. And as we move forward, we're going to be posting a lot of various types of videos. They're going to be a wide range of educational and entertainment content, and we really hope that you guys will subscribe so that we can keep on making great content, because that's the only way that you can support us right now.